We have been taught that to survive a confrontation, we must be solid. We build walls, we sharpen our words, and we meet force with force. We think that being tough means being like a rock, unyielding, rigid, and strong. But there is a fatal flaw in the logic of the rock. A rock, no matter how hard, can be shattered. A rock, because it refuses to move, can be ground into dust by the very forces it tries to resist. In Oriental logic, we don't aspire to be the rock. We aspire to be the force that destroys the rock while remaining untouched. We aspire to be water. Lao Tzu once said, "Supreme excellence is like water." This isn't just a poetic metaphor for peace. It is a ruthless strategy for handling the most difficult, aggressive, and toxic people in your life. To understand the true power of this logic, we must look back 4,000 years to an ancient legend that shaped the Eastern soul, the story of Great Yu. In ancient times, China was devastated by a great flood. For years, leaders tried to stop the water by building massive dams and high walls. They used the logic of the rock, trying to block the water, to trap it, to fight it head on. But the water only grew more violent, eventually smashing the dams and destroying everything in its path. Then came Yu. He realized a truth that his predecessors missed. You cannot defeat water by opposing it. Instead of building walls to stop the flow, Yu spent 13 years digging channels to guide it. He didn't fight the flood, he gave it a path to follow. By yielding to the water's natural direction, he neutralized its destructive power and turned the flood into a source of irrigation for the land. Yu didn't conquer the water, he became its partner. When you deal with a difficult person, most people act like the old dam builders. They try to block the ego, shut down the anger, or wall off the criticism. And just like the flood, the conflict only explodes. The logic of Yu teaches us that when someone attacks you with high pressure, you don't build a wall, you build a channel. You acknowledge their energy, you let it flow past you, and you guide it toward a resolution that serves you. Think about how water moves in nature. When water encounters a boulder in its path, it doesn't stop to argue. It doesn't try to push the boulder out of the way. It simply flows around it. It finds the path of least resistance, continues its journey, and eventually, through nothing but persistence and gravity, it wears that boulder down until it is nothing but sand. This is the logic of non-attachment. In modern history, few mastered this water logic better than the legendary Chinese diplomat, Zhou Enlai. He was often sent into rooms filled with hostile rivals and aggressive world leaders who wanted to corner him. Once, during a tense international summit, a cynical reporter tried to humiliate him by asking, "Why do you Chinese people walk with your heads down, while we Westerners walk with our heads held high?" It was a rock attack designed to trigger a defensive, angry response. If Zhou had reacted with a rock logic, he would have sparked an international incident. Instead, he smiled with the fluidity of water and replied, "That is because Chinese people are walking uphill while you are walking downhill." In one sentence, he absorbed the insult, redirected the momentum, and left the aggressor with nowhere to strike. He didn't hit back, he let the reporter's own arrogance trip him up. This is the ultimate water move, yielding to overcome. When you deal with a difficult person, the micromanager, the aggressive negotiator, or the emotional manipulator they are looking for a surface to hit, they want your resistance. Your anger, your defensiveness, and your explanations are the fuel they burn. The moment you become water, you deprive them of that fuel. Imagine a high-pressure situation. Someone is shouting at you or making unreasonable demands. The rock logic tells you to shout back or to shut down. But the water logic dictates a different move. Become the ocean. By yielding, you aren't losing, you are redirecting. When you remain calm, soft, and fluid, their aggression has nowhere to land. It's like punching a cloud. They exhaust themselves, hitting the air, while you remain centered and flowing. Water is the most adaptive substance in existence. Put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. In your professional life, this means being the ultimate observer. Instead of trying to force your personality onto a difficult environment, you adapt to the shape of the room. You listen more than you speak. You observe the cracks in your opponent's logic. And here is the secret. Water doesn't just flow around the obstacle. It eventually surrounds it. By staying fluid, you gain the time to see the situation from every angle. While they are busy being solid and loud, you are quietly filling the space around them. Before they realize it, you have gained the influence, the information, and the moral high ground. You haven't fought them, yet you have already won. To practice the wisdom of water today, try the empty vessel technique. The next time someone tries to provoke you, do not react. Do not defend. Simply absorb their words, like a deep ocean absorbs a pebble. Ask one calm, clarifying question. I hear your frustration. Can you help me understand the specific outcome you're looking for? By doing this, you force the rock to explain its own rigidity. You remain fluid. They remain stuck. Remember, the world's most powerful rivers didn't carve through canyons because they were fast. They did it because they were persistent and because they were willing to change shape to reach their goal. Don't be the rock that shatters, be the water that endures. This is Oriental Logic.